Welcome back, everybody. So now we're going to delve into another type of a bossa nova groove. It's still the same type of roots that we built up in the last lesson, but now we're going to infuse a different rhythm into our bossa nova pattern. It's a rhythm called Partido Alto. Now, Partido Alto is its own Brazilian style altogether. It's a very syncopated style, and it's got different accents moving at different times in different places. And I will play you a version of the Partido Alto rhythm in general, and then I'm going to show you how it infuses into the bossa nova pattern itself. Now, Partido Alto involves some low-pitched notes and some high-pitched notes rhythmically. And oftentimes what we do is we assign them to the bass drum and snare drum to allow that rhythm to come out and be more recognizable to the ear, all right? So if I just keep a steady pattern in my hi-hat and I play the rhythm between the bass drum and the snare drum for Partido Alto, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that bass drum snare drum is really outlining the melody, per se, of that rhythm of Partido Alto, that boom, crack, boom, crack, boom, boom. And again, just like everything else in Brazilian music, it originates from either different drums or from percussion instruments. Now, if you remember back a few lessons ago, I grabbed the agogo bells and the two different pitches, and I played the Partido Alto on the agogo bells. Boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, same type of rhythm. And you're gonna see that's gonna show up in a variety of different Brazilian situations. Bossa nova, samba. It also depends on what side of the rhythm you're starting on. We are starting on the downbeat side. Boom, ba. So 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, ba. Or 1, 2, 1, 2, boom, ba. Okay, and in future lessons, we're going to talk about starting on the upbeat side, but for now, we're dealing with the downbeat side. So now, let's go back to bossa nova and the patterns we talked about in previous lessons. So if you remember, we spoke about the foot pattern, playing the 1, a 2, a 1, a 2. And also, if you remember, we talked about that constant pulse on the ride cymbal. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, a 1, 2. So just like the main bossa nova pattern, that ostinato is going to stay the same, but what's changing is our snare hand. Our snare hand is now going to play that Partido Alto rhythm. Now you may ask, well, how do you get those different tones on the snare drum that I was just singing or playing before? Well, for Partido Alto, if you're using a cross stick, you're going to basically most likely keep the tones relatively the same, or you can try to extract an accent out of those higher notes. So if I just played this by itself without accents, it would sound like this. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I'm going to play the same pattern, but with accents in it that again resonate with the low and the high notes of those bells or the different drums we played before. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. And depending on the dynamics of the music, the gig situation where you're playing, you may not want to play it that loud. You have to bring those accents out a little bit more. They start to get a little bit more forceful. So you have to read the room, you have to read the musical situation to see if you really want to lay into those. You can also use some different drums if you wanted to, for something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that starts to bring out that melodious rhythm again. But again, it just depends on the style of the music, the volume, the tempo, and what you're dealing with, okay? So, the bossa nova rhythm with the Partito Alto on the snare drum, and I'll add some accents in there so you can hear it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And just like the last lesson, it's probably a good idea to do a little bit of combination work between that hi-hat and the ride to make sure there's a good transition between sections of a song. So again, like the last lesson, I'll play this 4 times on the hi-hat, 4 times in the ride, and you'll hear that combination. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so between that variation and the previous lesson showing the bassa clave main pattern, you have a good start of where to begin with bossa nova and how to develop from there, especially starting on the hi-hat, going to the ride, and developing these. In future lessons, we're going to talk about some improvisation and even further development. Stay tuned.